Faisal, my question for you is, why should anyone even embark on this journey?
Yes. I mean, as we see around how much people are really suffering, in all kind of ways, and some of those sufferings are real basic needs. Some people are real poor or sick, or, and most of the other suffering is psychological, emotional, hungry ghost kind of suffering, not real suffering, And they try to heal the suffering, try to find answers for their wants and needs in the realm where it doesn't exist, And it reminds me of the story of Mullah Nasruddin. One night he was looking under the street lamp, looking for something, and his neighbor came and said, "Mullah, have you lost something?" He said, "Yes, I lost the key to my house." And his neighbor said, "Where did you lose it?" He said, "I lost it across the street." He said, "Then why are you looking for it here?" He said, "Because it is dark over there." So humanity lost so much of their source of love and light and joy and energy and all of that, and they're looking for it in Disneyland, in Las Vegas, and in
Broadway.
Sorry?
Broadway.
In all kind of ways that leaves them even hungrier, leaves them even more like hungry ghosts, And I found out in time and in this journey that so much of the things that I've been needing and what my friends and clients and students need is the answer for all of those needs is within their essence, within the spirit, within the being. It's not by material thing. We can't eat more than one meal. We can't occupy more than one bed. I mean, it's really limited our physical need. And we have so much resources now to even help all of humanity. But the political scene, the establishment, all of that are like hungry ghosts, They think money will give them more happiness, power will give them, you name it, all kind of things. But they are miserable. They're creating misery over the earth and unhappiness. And I find that the answer really is, if we want to fulfill what we're looking for, we have to look in the right place, And that is in our soul, in our heart, in our being, and find the ways to retrieve what we have lost, And I found the answer was very, very, very simple, but complex how to reach it. The simplicity of it is that spirit or being or essence is the source of life, is the source of love and joy. It is the fountain of all that we are really seeking. And if we can reach it, we can really live a very fulfilling, contented life. It's such a wonderful life, And then we will deal with this existence and others and the material world in a much wiser way, much more human way, So the answer for our suffering, our lostness is our being. And life is of the essence. The more you have essence, the more you feel life. Because essence has all kind of ingredients that we call life. Energy, love, spaciousness, power, glory, all of that are attributes of the fountain of the spirit within. The human body is very limited. It's a miracle of all miracles, because it can also contain the spirit, but biologically it's very limited, even though it's a miracle, But what we need is much more than what the material realm can give us. So if we want to seek fulfillment, then we have to orient toward our being.
Yeah. So often people have the conventional world wrapped up, and everything is fine. And then the question is that all?
Yes, I've seen it so much. I've seen it that some of the people I've known, some of the friends I've known, reached the top of the pyramid, the top of the mountain top. And I remember asking one of them, he was really running the world. He was the head of the OPEC and you name it, all of that. I asked him, how do you feel now? He said, I feel emptier than ever. Because before I had the craving to reach this power, to reach all of those things. Now that I reach it, I end up being with myself, and where I am is just a vacuum, is an emptiness. I thought power or money or all this will give me what I want, but they don't. They are just something outside, and in craving for them and fighting for them, and you really, to reach such positions, you know, in the worldly existence, you have to sell your soul. You have to, you know, like, it's not worth the price. It's really not worth the price, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and there are a lot of elements you need to get your soul back.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. The journey is really very difficult. It's not an easy journey. But life is not easy either, you know. Really, life requires a lot of struggle, a lot of striving, a lot of perseverance. But if we use those elements that we do, that we have in daily life, if we use them in the right direction, you know, orienting toward our being, then we have abundance of reward coming from that, you know.
Yeah.
But we're gonna suffer, we're gonna struggle, no matter what. Let's struggle the right way. If we're gonna effort, let's effort the right way instead of wasteful efforting, you know. And some of those elements are really can be developed within us, and some of them we need from the outside. It's not just within us.
Yeah, so say more about that, Faisal.
Yes. I believe one of the most important elements to walk this walk, spiritual evolution, maturation, we need to cultivate personal power. You know, without personal power, we can't even attain any goal. Not only spiritually, also worldly. If we are scattered, not focused, not together, you know, then we don't have enough perseverance, enough energy, strength, direction. So we need to cultivate personal power. And personal power doesn't require so much intelligence, doesn't require so much wisdom. It requires perseverance. It requires endurance. It requires cultivation of certain elements that come from practice.
Mm-hmm. Discipline,
meditation, for example. You know, meditation, you can take it as you know, if you meditate an hour a day or 2 hours a day. If you go with the attitude that you're taking time for nourishment, for self-love, you're disengaging from the world, you're disengaging from all the distraction that takes you away from who you are, and coming back to yourself, breathing, relaxing, disengaging from too much mental activities, too much emotionality, calm down your system. This kind of attitude and this kind of practice accumulate personal power, accumulate energy, accumulate intelligence, not just mental intelligence, but bodily intelligence. Your body begin to know how to regulate itself. You know, your breathing begin to open, your centers of energy begin to awaken and begin to flow. So discipline is such an important factor in life, and it is a priority number 1 in the spiritual journey. I call it personal power, cultivating personal power. You know, variety of practice. You can do meditation, you can do yoga, you can do sport, you can do focus, you can do, for example, take a mantra, take a prayer, you know, and instead of letting your mind, which is like a camel, can be lost in the desert, you really tie the camel to a mantra, you know, a beautiful mantra. You know, something about love, something about beauty, something about divine interference, a beautiful prayer, Mani Padme Hum. There's so many mantras, so many prayers in all the religions and spirituality. You can tie your mind to focus on something like that instead of drifting and spacing out and dissipating your life force and your energy. You begin to cultivate concentration. And the concentration of our ordinary consciousness, of our mind, can lead to the cultivation of the diamond consciousness, which is a very higher consciousness, very focused consciousness, helps a lot in going through the inner journey and the unfoldment of the inner journey. Mm-hmm. So one is the personal, like we really have to show up. We need to get out of the wishful thinking mind, like a Saturi will come and hit me from above and I'll be enlightened, or, somebody will come and manifest, and it's not like that. Even if they do, we cannot sustain it. Really, we cannot sustain it. We need to do our homework. And there is a great reward in doing the homework. When you really do your homework, and when you struggle with your meditation 10, 15 years without any result, you're just sitting and frustrated and thinking, and you keep at it and you keep at it. And then by time you notice that things are beginning to change. Your meditation becoming a place of refuge. You feel peaceful in it, you feel calm in it, you feel in touch with your body, with your energy. It brings a feeling of victory inside, like you are victorious. You won over the distraction of the monkey mind, of the, this ego lost here and there. You have more focus, more purpose, more perseverance, and life begins to have more depth to it, more meaning. Meaning to it.
And Faisal, with mantra, and the actual vocalization, the sound waves of that actually creates lightness in your being.
Yes. As that Japanese scientist, he even took pictures. When he put mantras on a glass of water and then took photos of the molecular structure. He found out that when you chant something beautiful on water, the molecular structure of the water takes on beautiful forms. And they are really breathtaking beauty, how those forms like jewels, crystals, the water's molecular structure shapes. Imagine that if you repeat this mantra that 75, 80% of our body is water. Mm-hmm. And it becomes these beautiful crystals and these beautiful jewels and diamond and delicate, and they are vibrating, through our mind and psyche with a beautiful frequency, whether love or joy or consciousness, So yes, definitely, it's much more than tying the camel. It is actually changing the molecular structure of the.
Yeah, and if it's dissonant, if what's in your mind is dissonant, or the music you're listening to is dissonant, completely chaotic structure.
And I found out that there is a certain certain limit that the work, what we call work, psychological work, spiritual work, all of that thing, it can take you to a certain limit. Beyond it, you need to drop even all of the means, skillful means that you have learned, and shift gear to prayers. That realm, only prayer can function.
Yes.
And can take you to a much deeper, much graceful, much meaningful way, like the analysis and the processes and mom and dad and me and the Holy Trinity and all of that. They help to undo this mind-body structures and set them free to their natural flow. But beyond that, there is evolution. And the prayer can take your spirit to a higher evolution. To me, the work deals with the mind, sets you free from the bondage of the mind, from the limitation of the mind, and the prayers take you to grace, take you to higher evolution than just being free from the movie of the mind, You can.
I'm so with you with that, and unfortunately, in this culture, prayer can be a bad word, right?
Really.
Yes.
We the modern culture, we went too far away from our humanness, you know, really. And I remember last week I was watching this beautiful shaman from South America. His name is Arkan, A-R-K-A-N, you know, Arkan. You can Google. And he said something very, very beautiful, simple, but so profound, you know. He said that in modern man, you know, in the times we are in, and since, I don't know, maybe the beginning of development of logic, we always ask what to do, you know, what shall I do, you know? And he said, before we ask the question what to do, there is, what to do is the second question. The first question is how to be, what shall I be? You know? If I don't know how to be what I am, what I'll do could be haphazard, could be right on, could be not, could be hit and miss, you know? So he said, like the spider, for example, always knows how to do the spider web. It doesn't need education, it doesn't need anything. It does it because it is still the spider. You know, the cat, the tiger still climb the tree because it is still a cat. It knows how to do. The human being is not a human. The human being is a personality, is an ego, is a mind, is such replica of the human being, you know. I think humanity, maybe 75% is a replica, 25% human. We lost so much of our humanness. You know? And the human involved our essence, our spirit, our higher intelligences, our wisdom, you know. So if we become human, then we begin to resonate with all of these resources that exist within us and around us. The earth is a great teacher. The universe is a great teacher. The great being is a great teacher. We are surrounded by huge entourage that is here to help us evolve, mature. So we need to reach our being. We need to know our humanness. Then we know what to do. You know, what we are doing now is so much from insecurity, from greed, from, you know, like lower motivations that even the animals don't do. You know, the animals, they don't go kill nations because they just want to, you know, kill them. You know, or they want to take, they kill something to eat, to live, to survive. You know? But we are so skillful in our wars and destruction of the humanity and the earth because we are not a human. We don't know how it feels, you know, to be loving, caring, compassionate. Am I not my brother keeper? You know, Christ said it long time ago. You know, we lost these feelings. So we need to cultivate the skillful means, the personal power to come back to who we are. We also need other elements besides our discipline, personal power. We need also knowledge. We need to know, you know, knowledge that is not just this technical knowledge that we are in. We are in an age where the technology has overshadowed everything, you know. We need to know also knowledge about humanness, about the spirit, about the kingdom we are in, about who we are, what is our composition, you know. And instead of just the technology, how to get another iPhone, upgrade iPhone, I mean, how far are we gonna go, you know? It's nice, it's magical, it's wonderful, you know. Here we are talking now on Zoom.
That's right.
It's beautiful, but the price is too high. And maybe we needed to go through that, you know. Maybe we needed to sacrifice so much of our spirit and humanness to master the material world. And we have. Now we have mastered the material world. We can fly a jumbo airplane in the air, ship in the ocean. We really, you know, I mean, we've done miracle. More than this, we don't need to master the material world. We are now the master of the material world. We have homes with shelter, we have air conditions, we have heaters, we have everything. So
Yeah,
maybe,
the internet that can mirror the Akashic records.
really, yeah. So maybe now with the help of the coronavirus, sitting us home in our houses, you know, like Mother Earth, as this shaman said, decided to send us to our room, to our, you know, go sit, you know, because she is working on us. You know, the frequency of the earth is changing, everything coming to the natural order, and we are receiving blessings and empowerment that will slowly eradicate so much of our alienation, so much of our ego, personality, distortions, and restores us back to our natural order, to how we are, you know. So there is some kind of divine intervention, but we need also knowledge of how we are, who we are. And that's, I think, why spirituality in the last 50 years or so came more alive in the West, and, you know, it's spreading now all over, you know. In the videos that we do, I often inject the videos with terminology that I know going to confuse many who are going to listening to it, you know, diamond and gold. And the reason for that, I'm doing it on purpose. The reason is to inject the field with terminology that relate to essence. I want to familiarize people with essence, you know, and how essence is. It really looks golden, and it also looks like diamond. And it is something so normal, you know, but now when I talk about it, it feels like, what am I talking about? This is esoteric. Sometimes I feel like Shirley MacLaine when she started talking about yoga, you know, and like was like a blasphemy. What is she talking about? Yoga, Indian thinking? So I'm trying to inject the field with consciousness, knowledge, information to help our mind come out from this technology and limited field of logic to openness and to abundance of what is waiting for us to retrieve. I am just pointing, I am just adding, I am just hopefully inspiring, you know. Another aspect that also the seeker need is some skillful means, you know. And some of those skillful means is like sensing, you know, that we need to really pay attention to how we feel, not just emotionally. Emotionally is one, but how do we feel energetically, physically? There are so many things that if we pay attention to, we begin to sense our body, sense our arms, sense our legs, sense our organs, little by little, paying attention to our body, to our sensing. It is like bringing nourishment to these organs, bringing energy to them. By feeding our system with the energy of consciousness and relaxation, they begin to feed us, they begin to revive, our organs begin to get healthier, our spiritual centers begin to awaken, and they begin to pervade our system with so much energies that we didn't recognize we have before. Energy of vitality or joy or celebration or clarity, you know. So some of that is sensing, you know, our system. Another is inquiry, learning the art of how to inquire of what is happening now, what am I sensing, what am I thinking, what does that relate to? You don't identify with what's coming up, you begin to look at it, you begin to examine it to see, well, I am feeling, for example, negative. Let's say I'm feeling sad. Then instead of saying I am sad, I say I have a feeling of sadness. Then I look, where is this feeling? It's not me. I am the awareness looking at it. You know, I can identify with it and be sad, or I can feel, oh, it's an emotion I have. Then I see, well, it's a feeling in my heart. Then I stay with the feeling, then I feel it's some kind of softness or some kind of holding. Then I stay with that softness and holding. Then I begin to have some memories of, you know, I am missing something, or even my mother, or some crying come. Then a process begin to unfold by paying attention and inquiring in what is there. So cultivating the art of inquiry, how to use our mind, our consciousness the right way, helps greatly.
If I can just say something about that, Faisal, what I've found, two things. First of all, I appreciate you're talking about basically identifying something so you can disidentify with it. That's, the postmodernists talk about that, and postmodern therapists. But what they don't talk about is when you disidentify with what you identify with, then what? Nobody talks about the spiritual side or essence, or it, because it's Western therapy, so it kind of goes, it could fall into a hole, actually.
Yes. And what happens usually is that when you begin to inquire and sense and follow the process, you're going to fall into a hole. And this is part of the knowledge that I was saying is needed. We need to know knowledge of the spiritual journey. That if we begin to inquire, if we begin to sense, if we begin to relax, as whatever is happening within us begin to unfold, and it releases its mental and image and emotional and energetic content, it releases that area. And then the result is that there'll be a hole open in that area. Maybe under the sadness, there is a hole, or maybe under the confusion, there is a hole in the head, a hole in the heart, a hole in the head, a hole in the belly or the genitals. By inquiring, you anticipate that as you undo the stuffing, the conditioning, that underneath it, there may be a hole, an absence. And if you don't fear the hole, if you don't try to fill it in, which is what most humanity is doing, they are empty inside. So they go and fill the hole with excitement and you name it, But if you stay with the hole, breathe in it, relax in it, it might release even deeper memories. It might release certain energies that are dormant. And little by little, the hole begin to fill from within. And instead of filling it from without, having, I don't know, an adventure or a relationship or something, you release all of that. Then the quality, like maybe under the sadness, there is a quality of tenderness. And that quality of tenderness is, if it is allowed, it turns into compassion. And all of a sudden your heart and your whole body begin to be filled with such a beautiful feeling of compassion. Compassion for you, compassion for the suffering in others, compassion for, the whole kingdom. So yes, having a knowledge about the process,
Yeah. And that's where you are so brilliant at being the container for that. I just want to acknowledge that, Faisal, because really, it's such a gift of yours. I mean, because out of that silence, if you have the courage to stay in it, incredible, profoundly incredible really insights can come out of that.
Really incredible. Having the courage is very important, really, to be there. Shake in your boots. It's okay. You can shake in your boots, you can fall apart, but stay with it. Stay with it, It's not just having one nervous breakdown, have as many as you like, I remember a long time ago, somebody put on their window, I am having, at last, my time for my nervous breakdown, So I worked very hard for it. I deserve it. We fear disintegration, we fear falling apart, but by relaxing, meditating, breathing, we don't fear. We have the courage to fall apart and go into even our deepest fears. And that leads, of course, to healing and transformation and awakening. And also other elements is needed beside this knowledge, which is vast knowledge, really immense knowledge. We can study it in so many systems, and the Diamond Guidance has brought us an incredible knowledge that was missing, about the spiritual domain, spiritual kingdom, essential domain that's waiting with so much richness, but it was all made, as I said before, as mystical, mysterious, and people even fear it. It feels like this is crazy, or this is, whatever. We're not going there. Let's stay with what is safe. Maybe have my hamburger and, it's safe, you know, which is understandable. People are afraid, you know, to say jump in the abyss. You know, I remember Don Juan telling Carlos Castaneda, jump in the abyss. Scary, who's going to jump in the abyss, you know? So this is like seduction into, you know, into really falling in the abyss, and by time you can't wait to fall in the abyss. I honestly cannot wait till I have the time to just sit and fall apart, disintegrate, dissolve, gate. Whatever was left, whatever was there of me during the day, I let go. Even if it is essential, even if it is light and energy, I let go. Oh. Completely let go. I am empty again. I am, what they call it in the Jewish tradition, clean slate. I am just simple blackboard again, you know. Then my system relaxes. I don't fear anymore the dissolution, the disintegration. I can't wait to fall into one hole or another, because I learned by time that in the depth of every hole within us, there is a treasure beckoning. There is a treasure waiting for us. A jewel is waiting, a nectar is waiting. So much is waiting. Our essence is buried under our personality blanket and masks and all of those things. So having knowledge helps a great deal. You know, the more I learned about this knowledge, the more I taught it, it has given my students so much courage to jump into these holes, to look, you know, and to be even stalkers. They stalk, you know, their issues to go and find the jewel and retrieve it, you know. So yes, the knowledge is very important, and thank God there are so much knowledge coming out nowadays, you know. Of course, my favorite is the Diamond Logos one, you know, without any prejudice. What else? Teachers, you know, to really go into this journey, we need teachers, we need mentors, we need elder brothers and sisters. They don't have to be fully enlightened, maha enlightened. Let's not raise the ante so much. If this person walked a few steps ahead of me, can be a great teacher, you know, for me, you know, that I could learn, you know. So, but it is necessary for us as a human being to have teacher till the teacher connect us to the teacher within. Within each one of us is a teacher. I call it the diamond guidance, the diamond body, you know. And that is the teacher of all teachers. The Khidr of the Sufi, the Ablakatishvara of the Tibetans, the Elijah, the Angel Gabriel, many names for this teacher within. And we are now not paying attention enough to connect it. So that the worldly teacher or spiritual teacher becomes like a bridge to reach that. I call myself a stepping stone. I am just a stepping stone for my students. It's just happened to be a jeweled stepping stone, a jeweled bridge. It's not just an ordinary bridge. I know my station, I know where I am and what I could do. It's abundance and its limitation, you know. So the teacher is really necessary, but the teacher has to be very careful not to be the center of the mandala of the student. In therapy and in the teaching, many therapists and teachers engage the student in such complex object relational field, therapy, all of those things. By time the teacher or the therapist become the center of the mandala of the student, and the student unconscious begin to centralize around the therapist and the teacher. And sometimes that's good, and I found it most of the time, it is a narcissistic supply for the teacher, for the therapist, you know. That approach is useful for a limited degree. Beyond it, the teacher has always to help the student tend to find the teacher within them, to find the guide within them, to empower them, to let them get lost a little bit, struggle a little bit, till they find the teacher. And if not, you intervene. You come in as a teacher, as a therapist, giving them the basics and the support, especially in the first 2-3 years, you know. I used to consider myself for the new teachers as what do they call it? Like a midwife, I'm bringing them in, or as just mothering them for 2 or 3 years, nourishment and knowledge and guidance and groundedness and all of those things. But little by little, weaning time begins. They have to stand up. But in order for them to stand up, they have to find the inner means, the inner solidity, the will aspect of essence, the diamond guidance, the space to be open to all of those things. So there is need for teacher, but the teacher need to step out. We need to get, if you're going to be a guru, you need to be aware of that the guru doesn't become the center of the mandala of the student. It's only just a conveyor belt.
I think that's a really important message.
Very important. Really, I've seen so many, students suffer because they can't, what they call it, overpass the teacher. They replace their super ego or God within them with the teacher and with this guru. And their guru has messed them up in so many ways. We read about so many of those stories, and especially women, how much suffered from that.
Yes.
Like, hey, woman, this is my message to all women. There is no guru who is not a slave, servant for God between his legs. No one that I know has transcended that. They are guys, they are men. They are beautiful, they are peacocks, they are beautiful, they are jewel beings, they are lovely, they are loving, but they are guys.
You're getting a little provocative, Faisal.
I am. But this message I really wanted to reach guys and women and men. That men are ruled by what's between their legs. Even they asked the Dalai Lama, "Have you missed something in your life?" He pointed down.
Oh, really?
Only thing he missed in this lifetime. Oh. If we honor that, we don't need to say, "Oh, I am guru, I am enlightened, I am beyond it, and seduce this and does that," and all of those things. So that it's very important to the need for a teacher, for a guide, but also the recognition of the teacher and the guide for their limitation and for their role. Yes, they're gonna be momentarily replacing the God or the goddess within. The teacher, the student, those who go, what they call it, guru yoga, for example. You worship the guru till you reach the station of the guru. Then you go beyond the guru. You find you as the ultimate one. Your soul is the ultimate God within you or goddess within you. But momentarily, you can't worship the soul because of all the issues within you. Your fear of your parents and the past and the beast and the alien. You can't just love yourself. So it's easy to love a guru. And then by the time you retrieve that love to that higher self within you, the guru mirrors back that self, guides it, helps it to reach its prime, to reach its journey and navigate in a safe way. So this is, I think, is very important. The role of the guru or the teacher is really needed. But guru and teacher, I found out, and personal effort, personal work is not enough. It's true they are needed. We really need them, but we also need Sangha. We need community. We need an environment in which it can also hold us, can support us, And, like when you have friends and companions in the same journey, it's so inspiring. You can process with them, you can share with them, you can reflect, you can, so many things you can exchange. So Sangha or a community can enhance the evolution. And of course, if it is off, it can be regressive, Like religions were supposedly to be able to create Sangha for humanity, and it ended up that in order for you to be Muslim, you be this way, and to be Christian, you be this way, and to be Jew, you be this way. And then they ended up fighting, they ended up enmity, even though they are worshiping the same God and seeking the same thing, happiness and paradise, all of those things.
In addition to the hierarchies within the religions themselves.
Yes, then you have all of that, so much. So we need Sangha that has more and more orientation toward awakening, toward enlightenment, toward holding and preserving different lineages, but knowing that this is lineage that could work for some people, but doesn't work for others. You know, Islam could work for certain people, but cannot work for others. Christianity could work for some. Judaism, Buddhism, shamanism. If we know that each one is a preserver of a certain knowledge, certain jewel, you know, and for some people can go, let's say, the way of heart, and some people can go the way of mind, and some people can go the way of will, and some people can go the way of transcendence. There's so many ways, and if you find your knack, you know, what works for you, and you find the right teacher or the right community, then they can usher you into your maturation. Then you feel more open to other lineages, you know.
Being able to synthesize it all.
Yes, you integrate the beauty of Buddhism and the beauty of Sufism, and they all are richnesses of the human soul, you know. But when it comes to then ego and superego and politics and politics, God save us from the politicians, as Claudio used to say, you know. So Sangha is also a very important factor, you know. But also Sangha need, as I said, like teachers, to know the limitation of Sangha. Is not to be superimposed. You are preservers of a certain stream, certain knowledge, certain wisdom, you know. And it's so beautiful and can enhance the others, but others are also holding different lineages, different streams, different richnesses of being. And the more you open, the more you see that all the roads lead to Rome. All the lineages go to source, to being. One can take a magic carpet, one can take jumbo jet, one can take, I don't know, walking in the desert. But ultimately, there is only one source we can go to. You know? It's just different in our, how we are, you know. Maybe this lifetime I need this style, and that lifetime I need another lifetime. Then we can embrace the human heritage, the human richness, you know. There are certain also elements that I think is very important that we don't pay much attention to. I call it holders of the field. There are many beings whose specialty are not teaching or leading or doing anything. They are just like yogis or like, you know, monks or something. They've dedicated their life and their soul to a certain emanation of being. The divine emanation, the awakened mind, the diamond consciousness. There are some high beings who hold the field. They are rooted in the field and they exude and emanate different aspects of manifestation. Some the way of mind, some of the way of heart. And those beings, I call them holder of the field, I call them the graduates. They are very blessed beings, they made it, they know the ways, and they are like the guardians over humanity. You know, they are patient souls, they are evolved souls, and these we need to really be aware that there exists such beings like that, and how to honor them, how to love them, you know. I remember one of my lineages is Nyingma lineage, you know, and I consider holder of this lineage. And I was Googling some time ago, who is the head of this lineage, you know. I really didn't know. I know that it was, you know, few of them I knew, but then they passed away. So I was looking for it. Then they showed me this old man, maybe he's 90, 92 something, old, small man. He cannot even walk. They put him in a chair. They carry him up the stairs. They put him on the throne. He sits and read the prayers, you know. And I don't know whether he is really reading or not. His lips are moving, but he is drooling, you know. And they come and wipe out the drooling. And if you look at him, you say, all those high beings, enlightened beings, Rinpoches coming, prostrating, bowing to this old man ruling, what's it about? But if you really open the heart and the seeing, you will see a precious being holding the whole stream, holding the whole lineage in his soul, even though the body is gone, not much, but the soul is there in utmost preciousness. His whole body is filled with sweetness, with love. His mind is filled with intrinsic wisdom that transcends knowledge, information. It's the essence of things. And he is there, a king sitting there, holding the field. And his body is just sweet old man, what to do. So there are beings like that. I feel so touched, so blessed to know about them, to be connected with them. For the seeker on the path, please be also open to miracles like that. Don Juan used to say there are magical beings, like sometimes you might be walk and you might see a deer, and that deer or gazelle is just a radiant being emanating to you from the absolute, the exact message that you need, the exact emanation that you need. Then you begin to feel that there is Sangha, but Sangha is much bigger, not just your own little community, but cosmic Sangha, universal Sangha, and the holy city that holds all of us. The journey is difficult. Each quality you reach of essence bring you great fulfillment, great happiness, great healing, but also in the way to it, you go through so many issues. And sometimes also when it awakens, it pushes the issues that are covering it up. Fears or hurt or grief or anger, all of those things. So sometimes you go through ups and downs. This is part of the journey. Sometimes it's a roller coaster, especially the first and the second stage of the journey. The first stage is full of resistances and defenses, and you name it. You sit and meditate and your mind is meandering and your emotions want to get mad and you name it. So the second stage is more like calming of that excessive
rumination.
Yeah, to more tribulation. You go high for a day and you go low for another, and you're up and down, but your system is much freer. This is the intermediary stage. You fluctuate, Then you reach the third stage, which is more stability stage. You feel the quality comes and lasts for a long time, and you enjoy it. And while you are in it, you also process and explore some of the missing pieces that you didn't deal with before, Some hurt here, some fear here, some anger here, some object relation that is not resolved, and you resolve it. But there is more steadiness, more calmness, more continuity, and groundedness. So the journey is not easy. It's really a big challenge, And also, when you attain to more and more of your essence, it gets more and more lonelier than ever. So lonely. The path of the warrior, the gentle warrior, the path who is seeking the fulfillment and the realization and the liberation and the salvation is sometimes so lonely. Sometimes you can't even talk. You don't even have a friend who could understand what you're going through. You're going through it all alone. And when you journey deeper and deeper, it gets even scarcer and scarcer to find companions, to find friends, to find somebody that you could share and walk the walk with. So another big passage I realize is that to be able to accept loneliness, till loneliness begin to melt more and more into the alone, to be alone with the alone. The end of the loneliness, or not the end, the great deal of the resolution of the loneliness.
Being able to endure it.
Yes, endure it and be relieved from it is being in the being, in the alone. But as far as I am concerned in this lifetime, I don't want to transcend my humanness of longing for my friend or my beloved, or, to me, it's just, it is an integral part for me, I remember the story of one of the most wonderful teachers I met in my life, His Holiness the 16th Karmapa. And one of the stories that he had a friend, you know, his childhood friend. They grow together, and they spend time together. They meditate, they talk, they explore, they, you know, do all kinds of things together. And if his friend goes away a day or two, he sends one of his students to go bring him back. Say, you gone too far. Why are you gone so long, so far away? You know? So the humanness, the element of humanness, the element of intimacy remains human. And I could transcend it momentarily, but I don't want to transcend it like that. I don't want that. I gave up, personally, I gave up on that, you know. I gave up on two things, this part and my love for women. I think that will be the forever. I'm hopeless case.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I think that's one of the biggest misinterpretations of Buddhism is this, the idea of non-attachment. You know, that attachment brings suffering. Some attachment brings suffering.
Yes.
And attachment to outcomes certainly brings suffering, but attachment to attachment to a path.
Yes.
Path, teacher, loved one, kids, partners, you know.
I think it's misinterpretation, as you said, it's misunderstanding, you know. It's the grasping. When you grasp, that's the attachment.
Yeah.
But if you belong, it's not attachment, it's total surrender. You know? It's total, really beautiful belonging to the whole universe, and the universe belongs to you. Your children belong to you and you belong to them. It's the development, what we call of the pearl, that you are a being that is engaging and connecting and interacting, you know. But some of those who went extreme about some of those misinterpretation of attachment, and they get attached to the absolute, which is non-attachment, according to them, you know. It's not like
Zen has a fair amount of that, I think.
Zen, some of it, some of what we translated, you know, but some of some of the things that I read from Zen directly from those masters, it's full of intimacy, full of joy, you know, like, oh, the swan came and landed on the lake.
Yes, yes.
Wow, you know, like a beautiful piece of art, you know. You know, it touched his spirit, it touched his mind, but it didn't go into any grossness. It maintained in the field of luminosity and beauty and appreciation, and you know. But we took somehow, I don't know, we throw the baby with the bathwater. You know.
So beautifully said. I think we have our next area to talk about.
Yes.
Thank you so much for this, Faisal.
Yes, thanks so much. I'll be right back.